Ukraine's unyielding demand for NATO membership as a cornerstone of its national security and its victory agreement represents both a rallying cry and a form of diplomatic quagmire. The insistence stems not only from strategic imperatives but from profound disillusion with past agreements, most notably the Budapest Memorandum of 1991. That accord, which traded Ukraine's nuclear arsenal for promises of protection, now stands as cobwebbed testimony to unfulfilled guarantees, and the trolls that sort of dominate anything which is posted on YouTube go on and on and on about the Minsk agreements which followed, which were much later, and which were pretty well signed at gunpoint, and something that Zelenskyy had vowed to dismantle and repeal. And indeed, that may well explain why Putin invaded Ukraine. Ukraine's leadership is determined not to repeat this sort of history, especially as Russian aggression underscores the cost of vulnerability. And to go back to the Budapest Memorandum, one of the things it talks about is not ramping up nuclear aggression and moving nuclear weapons into, for example, Belarus. Belarus, Kazakhstan, the UK, the US and Russia and Ukraine were all signatories to this memorandum. So when Putin invaded Ukraine, when Putin grabbed Crimea, the US and the UK should have come, and Kazakhstan and Budapest should have come to Ukraine's defense. They didn't. Trump's suggestion of delaying NATO membership for decades has been met with fierce resistance in Kyiv, and Foreign Minister Andrei Sybiha has unequivocally stated that security guarantees outside NATO are mere surrogates that Ukraine cannot accept. And this clarity and purpose underscores Ukraine's mistrust of temporary measures and its belief that NATO's Article 5, the collective defence guarantee, is the only viable deterrent to further Russian aggression. Yet NATO faces a conundrum. While its commitment to Ukraine's long-term integration is irreversible, as Secretary-General Mark Rutte has noted, the alliance hesitates to set a timeline. Concerns of provoking broader conflict with Russia weigh heavily, and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and others have expressed apprehension about expanding NATO protections to an active war zone, fearing it would entangle the alliance in direct confrontation with Moscow itself. Conversely, some voices, like the former NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg, argue that membership could catalyse an end of the war by solidifying Ukraine's security position. Ukraine's compromise proposal, extending NATO membership only to territories it controls, introduces a new layer of complexity. It mirrors post-World War II arrangements like West Germany's NATO membership while the East remained under Soviet influence. However, this selective approach risks creating a fragmented defence structure and setting a precedent fraught with risks for other contested regions. On the battlefield, Ukraine's immediate needs, anti-air defence systems, military aid, energy infrastructure protection, underscore the urgency of its NATO aspirations. Yet NATO allies, including the UK, emphasise military aid over membership talks to empower Ukraine in negotiations. This pragmatic stance prioritises immediate strength over future guarantees, even as Kyiv asserts that its full integration into NATO would nullify Russia's justification for continued aggression. The global stakes could not be higher. Ukraine's demand for NATO membership pits the principles of collective defence against the realities of escalation and the threat from Russia. The alliance must balance its moral and strategic obligations with the risks of provoking a nuclear-armed adversary and a madman in a fridge. In the precarious dance, the outcome will not only shape Ukraine's future but will redefine NATO's role in an era of resurgent great power competition. Whether Ukraine's resolute stance will prevail or be tempered by diplomatic pragmatism remains a pivotal question for the global order in the immediate future.